hi there, and welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani with Jerry Usher and you. We always say that because you're the key person. This is where we take a fresh look at ourselves and the world around us. And hopefully that when we spend this brief, very fast hour together, I mean, it's brief, but it also moves so quickly, right? With all the great conversations we have and discussions, hopefully we're a little bit changed. A little bit closer to God. That's what we like to say here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. And Jerry, I don't know if you put this on the show calendar or I did. I know we both agreed that this would be a really exciting discussion.
Well, yeah, I think I put it on there, but it's something that easily either one of us could have come up with. And our topic today is about your first job, your first ever job. What was that? How well do you remember it? Was it good for you? Was it fruitful? Did it help to shape the person you are today? That's what we want to talk about today on the program. As always, with your help at 833-288-3986. I had to pause there for a minute because we were doing a pledge drive at the Station of the Cross, Debbie and I, and we give out the pledge line number, probably about 100 times an hour. And so I actually have, for the first time, I think ever, I have the Take Two show number written on a note in front of me here, so I don't get it wrong.
Well, we're talking about your first job today. Your first job, how did it prepare you for future work? How did it define you? It shape you? Let's talk about that. You probably have to go all the way back to when you were in junior high or high school, right? Or maybe right out of college, and you want to talk about your first job. Let's talk about it here on Take Two. The number to dial is 833-288-3986. That's 833-288-EWTN. Jerry?
Okay, it's the best time to call right now because phone lines are wide open, and they will not be in about 3 minutes, I can pretty much assure you, because we have busy phones usually all the time on this show. But for a topic like this, I mean, every one of us has to start somewhere, right, in our working careers. And so we're asking you today, what was your very, very, very first job, and how did it help to build character in you, build virtue, build discipline, a work ethic. And as you look back today, if you're still working right now or maybe retired, how did your very first job help you to be the person that you are today, the employee that you are today, maybe the employer that you are today? 833-288-EWTN, 833-288-3986.
Phone lines are starting to light up. That's a good sign. That means you want to talk about this. So I'd like to talk about my first job, Jerry. My first job in junior high was actually babysitting. Okay. And I really enjoyed that because it really made me just have fun with kids and like kids. And that was good because I was the youngest child. So I didn't have any younger siblings. I know you did. You had quite a few. So you probably were used to little kids running around. I wasn't. So that was a fun job. But really, I credit the next two jobs I got in high school. And that was one, I worked for a very popular brand new restaurant in northern New Jersey. Those of you who live in northern New Jersey, it was right near Willowbrook Mall. Okay. And it was very popular. And I was excited. I got picked out of a big group that they were interviewing. And I was a hostess. And I enjoyed it so very much. It really got me started in the hospitality industry, and which I've loved ever since. I think it's amazing. But then my mother was working at a very exclusive country club, private country club. My mother was working there. She was answering phones. She loves golf, so she wanted to answer phones. And she got me a job at the pro shop of this country club in northern New Jersey. Those of you will know this country club was Mountain Ridge Country Club. And I worked there, and I had a blast, Jerry. I got to fit people for clubs and sell clubs, and I did some, I did a little teaching golf because I was going to be a golf pro. And so it was so perfect. But then I didn't stay in either one of those careers. And, here I am.
Well, there has to be something in those first jobs that you had that helped you to be a good radio host today and life coach and all of that stuff.
Interaction. I enjoy,
Interaction, yeah.
yes, the good point, Jerry. I love, serving people and making them, happy and pleased with things. I love the interaction, the soul to soul connection. So that, yeah, it really did help in ministry because it kind of transitioned beautifully. And I did sales. I love sales, insurance for many, many years. And now ministry, I just always feel like I was definitely born to do this work in ministry.
Well, this is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you, inviting you today to call in and share your recollections of your very first job, how it impacted your life. If you were happy in it, maybe you didn't like it, but you just needed to make a little bit of money or something. Maybe it's helped to shape you into the person that you are today. 833-288-3986. And I think I shared once on this program that my first job was in a local grocery store. I lived in a town of about 500 people. And it was Johnson's Mercantile in Palos Beach, Washington. And I started at $1.75 an hour when I was 12 years old. But actually, I remembered a job that I had before that. I don't know how I forgot about this one. I had a paper route. I delivered newspapers when I was probably about 10 years old, maybe 10, 11 years old. I remember the man's first name, Lee. He would come with the Aberdeen Daily World and a car full of them, all bundled up because he had several people that delivered for him. And he would drop off the papers in the afternoon. It was an afternoon delivery during the week. On Sundays, it was brutal because it was a morning paper. I had to be up at like 4 in the morning going out to my paper route on Sundays. But I just remember that very, very fondly. Because it's really cool to kind of take people's paper to them and they say hi and they give you, stuff at Christmas, cookies or something like that. So that was my very, very first job.
Did you walk and do this paper route, or did you have a bicycle, or did somebody drive you?
Well, I think all of the above. There were times when I walked. I did have a bike, but I think on the Sundays my mother drove me. She got up with me. Probably because I wouldn't have gotten up if she didn't.
So your mom's job was the paper route as well.
Yeah, you could say that, absolutely.
Did you throw the paper, or did you get out of the car and place the paper on the drive? How did that work?
They had boxes. They had the paper, mailboxes. I mean, newspaper boxes. Kind
that's
of a
right.
square.
And you put
they
it
were
in
orange with the Daily World written on them.
Wow, you remember. See, so you heard from me, my first job, Jerry, his first job. Now we want to hear your first job at 833-288-3986. Call us, please. We're waiting for your call.
This is Conversations with Consequences, where we delve deeper into issues affecting our church, our country, and our core, the family.
As Catholics, we need to be informed, aware, and able to talk through some of the tough topics that we're facing in our culture and in our world. Conversations with Consequences gives us the tools to do so.
It's not enough to pray. We have to be a light for the world.
Conversations with Consequences, this Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
"60 on 10 with Monsignor Charles Pope.
The fifth commandment, you shall not kill. At the heart of this commandment is an absolute insistence on the sacredness of human life. We read in Jeremiah chapter 1 and verse 5, "Before I ever formed you in the womb, I knew you, says the Lord." So every human life is sacred because it's caught up in the mind and the heart and the will and the love of God. And no matter how we're conceived or any circumstances, God has always known and loved every human person. And for this reason, we are to hold sacred every human life. We are therefore to never murder, never kill, never seek vengeance. Of course, we have issues of abortion and euthanasia today, and we have so many ways where we in some way disrespect the lives of other human persons, and even our own life. We have to learn to respect it as a great gift from God. The fifth commandment, you shall not kill.
For more about the 10 Commandments, visit EWTNRC.com.
Well, not surprisingly, a lot of you have something to share today. as we talk about our very first job, how it helped to shape the person that we are. And we can always weave our faith into this because work is important. Work is it's part of our dignity as human persons comes from the work that we do. So we want to put our all into any job that we have. So please feel free to call and join us at 833-288-3986. There are 2 phone lines open, so you get right through. A couple of you will. And Debbie, I know you wanted to share something before we go to the telephones.
I do. I just wanted for folks to just really stay and feel connected to Mother Angelica. And there's a great way. You can celebrate Mother Angelica's remarkable life, her words, and her works. It's just so beautiful. All you have to do is go to EWTN, visit EWTN.com/Mother Angelica today. And it's absolutely amazing. Just go there. You'll get to just, dive deep into some of her just profound statements. I mean, the theme for the Station of the Cross Pledge Drive is continuing the vision of Mother Angelica. And so they're playing the clips of Mother Angelica throughout the whole entire pledge drive. And Jerry and I are just soaking it up going, wow, that was great. I mean, it's amazing. So stay connected with Mother Angelica, please. And her words, her works, her life. It's incredible.
All right, we're going to talk about first jobs, starting with Teresa in Auburn, Alabama, listening on Sirius XM 130. First time to call the show. Hi, Teresa. We're so glad you did. Welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Good to be here. I grew up in the Midwest, so I had a unique job of detasseling corn, where you literally pull the tassels out of the corn so they don't cross-pollinate.
Oh, wow.
And it taught me that it was okay to work hard for whatever you wanted to do. And that's benefited me my whole life. And while I hated it because it was really dirty, being a girl, it just really was a good job to have to teach you some life lessons.
Wow.
May I ask a question? I hear it
Sure.
is tough. Yeah, it's hard work, and it's can be a bit messy work too. But when you were detasseling the corn, did you find yourself kind of daydreaming, or just because it almost seems like the kind of work that you could be thinking about other things while you're doing it? Is that correct, or am I way off base?
Well, not to start with. You have to go through a field multiple times. So the first time through, you don't have time to see anything but the next stalk of corn.
Wow.
But after that, yeah, you can appreciate that the corn, when it's waving, kind of looks like an ocean, and really kind of feel the presence of God while you're out there. So.
Wow, Teresa, that's awesome.
Hey, I'm going to be. I'm not certain what this is, Teresa. So, if for my sake and maybe others who are listening, can you just briefly explain what detasseling corn is? Because I think of shucking and other things, but this happens during the growing process. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
If you're making a hybrid corn seed, which most people don't know what that is either, but you have to make sure that only a certain percentage of the field pollinates, which is what the tassel is when you drive by a cornfield and see the tassels sticking up. That's what pollinates the corn. So you go through and you literally pull them out of the top of the corn stalks. So
wow.
Did you had to be strong to do that, didn't you?
Well, you just had to be fast.
Okay, fast. Okay.
More than anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, there's actually machines that, that was years ago. There's machines that do it, a lot of it now, but even though people have to go back behind the machines and finish doing it. So
Wow.
It's a job, but, a lot of Midwestern kids have done it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love corn on the cob. Fresh corn is so good. Teresa, thanks for the call. Appreciate that. And best of luck to you here today. Hope you're having a blessed Easter season. We're talking about your first jobs today and how you remember them, fondly or not, or how they help to shape who the person you are today. Julia is next in Charlton, Massachusetts, listening on the EWTN app. Hi, Julia. Welcome.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. How are you today?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Very well, thank you. Compared to Teresa, I definitely had a very easy job. My freshman and sophomore years in high school, which would have been 1965 to 1967. I worked at our parish rectory. It was a very large parish in Baltimore, and there were 4 full-time priests, 2 housekeepers, and a secretary. When the housekeepers were not working at the end of the day and the secretary had gone home, they hired high school girls to do things like answer the door and answer the phone, do light housekeeping like emptying the dishwasher and setting the table for the next day for breakfast. If my shift was right after school, I would wear my high school uniform, but otherwise we had to dress professionally and nicely, which is something that I learned to do for work. And if it was slow, we were allowed to do our homework, which was a good thing. And if we wanted to, we could watch television, but I never really did that. It was responsible for a young kid because sometimes the phone would ring and it was somebody saying that a family member needed the last rites. So a priest would hustle out, with the kit and everything. And what I really remember most about it is that we didn't have a car at this time of my life growing up. And if it was dark, my father would walk me and walk me home. And it was probably about 3/4 of a mile. So what I vividly remember is walking by E.J. Corvette department store. Debbie, do you remember them from New Jersey?
I don't,
They were
Julia.
like discount. Okay, because they were big in New York.
Okay.
But anyway, I remember he walked really, really fast, so I would be walking behind him and with the light of his cigar in front of me.
Oh.
So it's funny the things that you remember after 55 years.
Right. Wow, it sounds
so
like
your
you
mother drove you, Jerry.
Yeah, right.
My mother drove me too to work. Yeah.
Well, Julia, it sounds like you really.
But
Go ahead.
it was good experience, and now all these years later, I'm retired, but I do so much volunteer work at the parish, and some of it is actually helping the pastor with office work.
Wow.
You've come
So
full
it's
circle.
like total full circle. Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, we can hear it in your voice, Julia, the fondness that you have of that first job. And you're right, it was definitely a great responsibility. As a seminarian, from 1989 to 95, I stayed at the cathedral in my archdiocese on summer breaks and breaks from college and so forth. And I did a lot of that stuff too. And you get very, very important phone calls come in. So yeah, it is a position of great responsibility, but I'm painting this mental picture in my mind. 4 priests, a large parish, 2 housekeepers, a secretary. This is the way things used to be in a lot of places in the church, and it just reminds us, we need to pray for vocations and ask the Lord to send laborers into the harvest. Debbie?
Julia,
Right.
I have to tell you, you just jogged my memory because I have another job to add to it. And that is that, well, I'll tell you in a second. Julia, I actually wanted your job. We had the same opportunity at the parish that I and the school that was attached to it. We had the same opportunity. I didn't get the job. Other classmates did. I wanted that so badly, the job that you had. But instead, they gave me and my girlfriend we could do bingo. We had to serve the bingo cards at bingo. It was a blast, though. The only problem was that it was back in the day when everybody smoked. So I would come home and I would just be covered in smoke. And my mother would say, I can't take it. You come into the house and and so that didn't last very long. But I wanted your job, Julia. I really did, because I think the appreciation you obviously still have for the work of the priests, and how, like you said, they'd get the call that somebody's dying, they'd grab their kit, they'd run out the door. I mean, that's a frontline worker, right?
Yes, and another thing that was very responsible, we wrote mass cards. So they needed, and it was always girls too. They didn't hire young men, but we had to have good handwriting. So I guess that was a qualification. But it was really good experience, and obviously all the jobs I've ever had all my life involved a lot of confidentiality, a lot of people contact. So for a first job, I think it was a wonderful training ground.
Yes,
Yeah, it sounds
I
like
agree.
it. Absolutely.
And you still love it, which is beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Julia.
you.
All right. God bless you. Take two with Jerry and Debbie and you talking today about our first jobs, what you remember about it, and how it may have helped to shape you throughout the rest of your working life and even to be the person that you are today. That line is open at 833-288-3986. And we go to Dolores next in Phoenix City, Alabama. First-time caller to the program. Hi, Dolores. Good to have you with us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking my call. So my first job, my mother brought us to the state when I was a young child. So she has 5 children, and it was a very learning experience. We were teenagers. We were at the age rebellions, we don't want to go to school. We didn't want to appreciate the opportunity she has given to us. So lesson learned. She took us all to work in the field, picking up grapes. So we were from age 15 to 10. This is about 30 years ago. So and it kind of stuck to me to this day. I'm 40, almost 49 years old, and to this day, I have never forgot the lesson my mother gave us. She took us to work in the field, like now it is, I guess, immigrant because of money need. But for us, it was a teaching lesson. We worked from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. In California, Bakersfield, when the sun is too hot to work. And to this day, I see children work in the field and kind of feel so much empathy for them, so much sadness. But I hope they learn that education is the main priority to be successful in this life, in this world. If you want to be wealthy, you have to go to get an education. So our workload was from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock, 7 days a week, after school as well, summertime. So this was, for me, an experience. What was it that I want to do when I grew up? I always taught myself, do I want to do this type of a job or do I want to get myself an education? Since that time, my goal was always to get myself educated. I don't know how, but I managed to get myself education, get my bachelor's degree, work for a wonderful company, a 6-figure job, a wonderful family, wonderful children. My son is he's getting his PhD in medical research. Wow. My other son is becoming an engineer, and I have a daughter who has struggled also to do what she wants to do in life, but she managed to also go to school on her own to get her business degree. So for lesson learned for myself and all the immigrants who come to the state and they think they cannot do something in life, they will do something if they have a mindset and they know what they want to do as they move forward. Sometimes our parents, they come from a different country, either they're not educated or they don't know how to get an education, but we don't have to be like our parents. We have to be better than our own parents. I always tell my children, you have to be better than me. You have to achieve better than me. Not be like me or not be less than me. I want you to do more. So when my first job and working in the field, picking up grapes as a teenager, I should have been in the mall. I should have been shopping with friends. But it was my job that got me to who I am today and what I am today and what I do today to my successful life that I'm living in today. It's a dreaming life for me.
Well, Dolores, you've said so many beautiful things about your mom, your family, what you learned, how it's now passed on to your kids, and they are increasing their education and doing some wonderful things that they want to do for their future. And it just makes me think how blessed we are to be in this country, the United States, where the options are there. If you want to work, if you want to get on a path, if you want to strive for, something greater in education or something like that, it's possible. And I just love that. I love that about the U.S., that there is that there, and if you read, which you do around other cultures around the world, sometimes there's not many, the options are limited, or or you have to jump through hoops, or you have to do certain things. Here, you don't have to. If you want to put the time and the effort, you will see successful results. And I love that your mother, did that, kind of instilled that in all of you when you were younger, so that you just went big. Because that's what I think with the God we serve, the big, bold God, he wants us to go big. And education is a key component to that. I just love everything you said, Dolores. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, I agree. The dedication and perseverance that Dolores had and her mother obviously has made its way down through Dolores to her children. And I love your exhortation to them. Don't be less than me. Don't be like me. Be better than me. And what she's saying,
do
Debbie,
more.
in essence, do more. Yeah, be you, be who God made you to be, and live out your purpose in life with great dedication. Dolores, that was a great call. Thank you so much. Brian, you're going to be next here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we have a couple of open phone lines. Please join us talking about your first job, how it helped to shape the person that you are today. 833-288-3986.
I'm Brian Patrick with the Catholic Sphere.
This is Catherine Hadro from EWTN Pro-Life Weekly.
This is Raymond Arroyo, host of The World Over.
Get trusted Catholic news every day on EWTN television and radio.
Hi, this is an EWTN bookmark brief. I'm Doug Keck, speaking with William Albrecht, who, along with his co-author, Dr. Christian Koppes, wrote the book Mary Among the Evangelists, the definitive guide for solving biblical questions about Mary. So tell us, William, why did you decide to put this book together, and why should somebody pick it up?
We really truly believe that the ancient vision of Mary from the Bible truly comes to life in this book. What the church has always taught about Mary, we believe it really, looking at what the Bible says, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, we believe that allowing the evangelists to speak about Mary and to bring out the beauty of what the faith has always taught about Mary is really integral into understanding a proper Mariology.
Mary Among the Evangelists, the definitive guide for solving biblical questions about Mary. God Bless Our Lady, available through our EWTN religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. And this has been an EWTN bookmark brief. We'll see you next time. Thanks.
Take Two, family. Did you know we have a book and fellowship club? Log on to standtalltoday.com and click on the book club tab to join us. Each month, our facilitator Gigi picks another must-read book. We gather on Facebook at the end of the month to share our thoughts and reflections. Plus, there's great fellowship throughout the entire month. Join the Inspired by Faith Book and Fellowship Club today at standtalltoday.com. Just click on the book club tab at the top of the page.
Tomorrow on More to Life, uncertain.
Are you struggling with uncertainty? We'll help you make more confident decisions.
That's tomorrow on More to Life. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Please join us on the discussion here, our conversation about first jobs. I mean, everyone, we have to start somewhere in our working lives, right? How old were you? What type of job was it? How did it help to create a real work ethic within you that you still maybe have today, or you had, perhaps you're retired, help to shape who you are today? 833-288-3986. Debbie?
I'm getting teased by my Jersey peeps. They're texting in going, oh, you used to work at Mountain Ridge Country Club. My mother got me the job. She answered phones there, and she'd always bring me home Starburst. That's how come I got totally addicted to Starburst. Yeah, that's like my first encounter with Starburst. They used to sell them in the gift shop there, huh?
Oh, I used to love Starburst, yeah.
I only like the pink ones. I like the pink ones, Starburst. And then now they make a whole... Ones. You like the yellow?
I didn't like the yellow ones.
You didn't like the yellow ones? And now they make ones with just pink. You can get them at certain candy stores. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, so real quickly, and then somebody else texted in and said, Debbie, what was the restaurant? I want to know. It was Bennigan's. I don't believe Bennigan's is there anymore. I don't believe it's there. I think it's, or there may be still some Bennigan's around the country, but it was the one in New Jersey. Anyway.
Okay.
There you go. Now they can rest. They can have a great day. I answered it clearly.
As promised, Brian is up next in Dallas, listening on Guadalupe Radio Network, and a first-time caller as well to Take Two. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good.
Doing
How
well.
are you?
I'm good. So my first job was back east in Saugus, Massachusetts at the Hilltop Steakhouse in 1979. I was 16, and I got a job as a dishwasher. And this place is huge. Anyone back there knows they served about 40,000 people a week. Wow. And there were four, and so that there was like big rooms. So that I worked in a place. The dishwashers, there were four of us, and it was in this little room they called the Hole. It had no lighting, and you were responsible for one station, which was like a quarter of the restaurant. And all the waitresses bust their own tables, so they were kind of grouchy to begin with having to do that. And they would take the trays full of the dishes, and you'd be in the hole with three other people, guy right behind you and right next to you, and you had a rubber hole in front of you, and they would literally just shove the dishes through this window, and you'd take them and bang the food off the plates into the hole, into a garbage pail, and when it got full, you had to pull it out and take it out to the garbage and then start all over. And they were just throwing dishes at you all day long in this dark hole, and they were not real friendly towards us because they were not happy to be having to carry trays full of dishes and then wait on tables, and they were busy. So that was my first job.
Wow, that's incredible. Brian, I have to tell you, I have a long history with restaurants and hospitality industry. I go way back, and I have such admiration and respect for those that work in the kitchen and those that are dishwashers. It's tough work. It is tough. The reason why I know that is one of our dishwashers walked off the job one day, and they threw us into that position. Now, they had the machines. I don't know if you had the machines there that you were running it through, or it was partial machines at that time, maybe back in the day. But it was so hot and so tough. I only lasted for like 20 minutes. I thought I was going to literally die. So I give you so much credit. I have to ask you a question though, Brian. Do you still wash dishes today? And when you do the thoughts come back to you?
I have a dishwasher, but I've never used it. I've been in the same house for 20 years. I wash my dishes. And now that I never thought about it, maybe that's why. I do wash my dishes. What was the second part of your question?
Just the thoughts of you, like, because the routines, you probably were in a very strict routine on how you did things, because you had to go fast. So I'm just wondering, do some of those same, do those same habits come back? Because it does for me. When I'm cleaning the kitchen, I actually think back to the time when I was cleaning tables. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I do. I move quick, and one of the jobs I had in high school was a cook at a little steak place, and so I did learn to prep food and have to get dishes out quickly. So when I'm in the kitchen, I move fast. And we in this restaurant, there were so many dishes. We just racked them, rack, one dish here and then put them in. So I do. I clean and rack. So I guess that sort of trained me.
Yeah. Well, actually, we have people, as you know, Brian, watching the show on YouTube and Facebook, EWTN's pages there. And Michael M. says, I was a dishwasher at the Ahwahnee Hotel in Yosemite National Park. I was 19 going on 12. I was a fish out of water and failed miserably. It only lasted 2 weeks. So you've got somebody else, a company who's listening, watching the video stream, Brian, in Michael. He was a dishwasher too.
All right. Well, it was good. It was humbling work, and I think that's what it taught me, to just all work is honorable.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
That's a great
Absolutely,
point.
Brian. And we need to instill that in folks today, because I think people have lost interest. Jerry and I do a lot of life coaching, Brian, and people are just kind of, they're down, they're disillusioned, they're not. We need to put the dreams back in them and the desire and just the excitement of achieving something. Like, Brian, I'm sure when you saw a clean kitchen at the restaurant at the end of the night, it felt good, right? right? All the dishes were done.
Exactly. And it was, and you were tired and you went home and it was good. I mean, all work is honorable. And I never really felt like, any job I had, it was a way to get independent and early. And I had lots of jobs when I was young. And I don't see that with my nieces and nephews. And, it also, when you have an army of irritated waitresses chirping at you all day, it's like eating humble pie. You can't really talk back to them, or they'll get on you.
Right.
Oh, I could tell you stories, Brian. We could trade stories. I'm sure you could trade. I have the funniest stories that used to happen being a server and having to interact with the chefs and the cooks. There was some interesting things that happened in the back kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
all right, Brian.
All good.
Thanks for calling, brother.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
God bless.
Brian.
Bye-bye.
Call again. That was a fun call.
It was, yeah. He makes a good point there too. I think young people today, I've never had kids of my own, obviously, but it just seems like they're a little more reluctant to take on the messy, the dirty, the strenuous types of jobs. But those of us who did, and it's not that they won't be dedicated and work hard, when they get later in life and get a job. But I think it teaches you so much. I remember all of me, my brother, my sister, all four of us boys, we were all working when we were 12, 13, 14 years old. And I go back to that job at the grocery store, and I had to, the city we lived in, the town, was a lot of tourists came because of the razor clam digging season. And I had to call the owner of the store every day during the summer and see if he needed me to come in. He almost always did. And my friends were going out and doing stuff, going fishing, going swimming, whatever. And I had to make that call. And there were so many times, Debbie, I would say, please, God, please tell me he doesn't need me today. Mm-hmm. And almost every time he needed me to come in. Wow. And so, yeah, it taught me, the value of perseverance and showing up. And sometimes you have to make sacrifices.
There's so much more than just getting money and a paycheck, right? You learn discipline. You learn to be your word. You learn that you've got to show up and do a good job. You're proud of yourself when you do that good work. There's so many elements. I mean, it's so many levels and it impacts us for a lifetime. I mean, it's just incredible. We heard from Brian and Dolores' story. I mean, this is so cool to be having these discussions because hopefully young people are listening to the show right now. And so maybe this would inspire you if you're one of those folks that just feel like, I don't want to work or it's not worth it. Okay, let's hear what Sean has to say in Fort Hood, Texas, listening on iHeartRadio. Hi, Sean. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. I was listening, and my first job I ever had, I didn't have a job all the way through high school, and I had graduated high school, and I had a little bit of money left over from some graduation money people had given me, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I wasn't going to college or anything, and a buddy of mine came over, and he said, I'm moving to California. I'm going to go live with my brother. He said, let's go out there. We'll get jobs, make a lot of money. I thought, oh, okay. I didn't know what job I was going to do to make a lot of money because I never had one. But I moved to California on $50 and couldn't get a job at first because I had no job experience. So I had to ask my buddy what he had done on some of his previous jobs. And I kind of had to fudge my applications. Instead, I worked at places, and I had to put down the places I worked at places I knew had already closed. But I ended up getting my first job, and was unloading trucks at a Kmart warehouse. And I lasted about 8 months in California before I got homesick, and I came back. But I picked up another job. I picked up 3 jobs. I started to realize, gosh, if I work, I could do about anything. And I ended up saving money, getting scuba diving lessons, taking a 2-week vacation, and then joining the Navy to be a diver from all of that. That was kind of my first job experience, led to a whole lot of other things.
Wow, Sean, that's fantastic. Yeah, you were doing, I typed the note over to Debbie. I said he was doing a little California dream in there for a while. But, I love that. I love the spirit of that, though. You were, I mean, you took a real, real chance, a real risk. You went pretty far away, and you did get that job unloading those trucks for a while, but it obviously started you on a path that led you to do a lot of other great things. Like you said, eventually join the Navy as well. And so I think this is a very, very, very good story, about what Sean did.
Yeah, that is. And Sean, what's interesting is you made the comment about kind of fudging a bit on your applications. I so many times when I would work in the restaurant industry, and people would come in, they wanted a job so badly. And they were too young for a certain position. Some legally you have to be a certain age to serve liquor and stuff like that. But they wanted the job so badly, and you can see the look in their eyes. They would do anything. And I love what I understand that, some people, did maybe put down a different thing or a different age or something like that. But the point I'm trying to make is the eagerness of young folks wanting to work. I love that. And I pray that comes back again. This rush, that desire, that strong desire. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I think, if kids would just get out there and do some of this stuff, because it never really dawned on me until I moved on nothing and had a job. But it dawned on me, gosh, I'm an adult. I could do anything I want to do, and I'd never been out of the country. Yeah. The trip I took was out of the country. I became a diver in the Navy. God just kept opening windows for me, though.
Right.
I'm sure my guardian angel, he was been working overtime, some of the stuff I've done in my life.
Aww.
But I'm back working for the military as a chiropractor now. I love it. I got my dream job now. Wow. I can work with military people again and young people, and I absolutely love where I'm at. But I've always loved adventure. When I was a kid, I thought, I just want to have a lot of adventures, and boy, I have. And what people don't realize is that adventure isn't like a trip you plan with some excursions. It's not adventure. Adventure is when you get out there and things unexpected happen to you didn't expect to happen, and then you have to kind of learn how to deal with it. But the stories afterwards are just amazing.
That is so cool. Yeah. What a great journey you've been on. Yeah. Sean, I hope you're documenting this. I
know. I wish I would. I need to do that. There's so much stuff, but I really need to do that. I'm a terrible writer. Right thing.
Well, you just gave us the Reader's Digest version, and it came back to you pretty easily. So I'm sure if you ever wanted to jot some of this stuff down in longer form, it would definitely come back to you. Praise God. We're so happy for you, Sean. Appreciate the phone call today. And he says he has his dream job, working as a chiropractor in the military now. Thank you, Sean. Yeah.
Well, thank you for your fine work and your service. Wow. Sean, what a great call. Thank you for gracing this conversation.
Okay, The Good Fight, Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern Time with Barbara McGuigan and her guests. They talk about saints, past, present, and future this Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on most of these same EWTN stations.
Okay, we are going back to the phones in just a minute. I want to read from Facebook. I'm waving to you, Ramona. Ramona says, I'm from West Milford, that's in northern New Jersey, and Willowbrook Mall was everything in the 70s and 80s. I know. I used to shop there all the time. And that's where the restaurant was, right on the campus there. My first job was as a display designer at Shepherd's Family Fashions in West Milford. At age 16, I got to make my own hours and got to shop and select the styles I wanted to put on display. It was so much fun. Ramona, that does sound like fun. Yeah, you could pick out outfits and then you get to put them on the mannequins, right?
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that? That would be fun.
Mary's also watching on Facebook. She says, my siblings and I also had a daily paper route, which is my first job. I absolutely loved my customers. Yes, Sunday was a heavy paper, and we delivered every morning before school.
Wow. Every morning before school. Wow. Michael J. says, I was an usher at a dollar theater making $3.35 an hour. Wow, you guys are so cool. I love the comments. Okay, let's go back to the phones. James in Los Angeles, California, listening on the EWTN app. Hi, James. Welcome.
Hi, Debbie and Jerry. Nice to talk to you again.
Likewise.
I spoke to you about 4 months ago, and I was interested in this topic this morning. I thought I'd add a little bit of humor and then some seriousness to what happened on my first job. I was living in the Bronx, New York. I was in high school, and I needed some extra spending money. So a friend of mine was able to get me a job in a company manufacturing pocketbooks, women's pocketbooks. And I was putting the frames on the pocketbooks with these presses in order to form them into the eventual complete bag. Now, the funny part of this story is we used to work after school and sometimes at night up till 9 o'clock. And one night I was working with my friend and the other people, and they all went home. I had a few extra things to finish up. And my friend said, I started to go around. We were getting ready to leave, and I started to turn off all the fluorescent lights. And my friend said to me, oh, don't bother doing that. He doesn't pay for his electric. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, you know that baker downstairs? He's wired himself so that all of his lights are taken care of by the baker who doesn't even know it because he's an immigrant. So when I heard that, the next day I went into the boss and I said, look, I'm not going to work for a cheat like you. Yeah. And I walked out of there. And that was the beginning of a formation I think I still have today. And it served me very well right throughout my life. And I thought that was kind of an interesting story. It's kind of funny at the time. Here's this poor guy getting bills for hundreds of dollars, and he's got 2 lights in his shop. So anyway,
that's horrible.
That's the story.
Yeah, but you stood up. You stood up,
right.
James, and that was huge.
Yeah, I did, because either you're going to stand up in this life or you're not. In my opinion today, there's too many people sitting on their duffs. We see what's happening around the world and our own country split like it is. And there's not enough people standing up and say enough. We've got to change this. But I learned that from the early beginning, and it served me very well in my career. Most of the time I was able to add, but once in a while I took away. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's nice talking to both of you. Have a great day.
All right, James, thanks. You have a great day, too. How many people would not have said something, Debbie? You know, it would have been easy for James to say,
scared. You could
be scared to lose your job. Or it could have been, just a simple matter of him saying, well, I'm not the one who's poaching this electricity off that poor guy downstairs. So it's not my business. I don't own it, so I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, I'm sure that was probably a very foundational moment in James's life, I would bet.
Yeah, I think that's a really pivotal moment, and it really, made him feel confident because he got through it. He said the right thing. He did the right thing, and that builds an interior confidence in you so that when you do encounter things as you get older, you know how to handle things. And I think that was a great call, James. Thank you so very much. Jerry, we're getting comments that are coming in so fast. I know Anna Marie wants her comment read, and Dave as well, and the others, and your text messages are coming in. You guys are sharing all the funny stories and the serious stories of your first jobs. I just want to say real quickly, Jerry, we're getting a lot of folks texting us saying that they were caddies, golf caddies at private country clubs. I just want to say my brothers, both of them were that same job. My dad forced them to do it. It's a tough job. Those golf bags can be very heavy, and if you get in 2 rounds of golf, that's 36 holes, and my brothers used to come home with welts on their shoulders and everything. It's a tough job, but they made a lot of money, a lot of money. But now we have, golf carts.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I'm sure that taught them a lot, and I can just imagine the physical strain on that. They probably never had any trouble sleeping at night.
Yeah, they were exhausted.
Yeah.
They were exhausted. My poor brother, he went into the out of bounds to find a ball for one of the golfers, and he got caught up in poison ivy. He came home head to toe in poison ivy in his eyes and everything.
Oh, my.
The next day. It was horrible. Yeah, wow. It was horrible. He was not happy.
I bet he wasn't. But hopefully he got paid well that day.
It's true.
Okay, Brian, and thanks again, James, for the call. Brian in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, watching the video stream on Facebook. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Good afternoon or good morning, whichever time zone you're in. How are you doing today?
Doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, doing all right. My first job, other than mowing lawns when I was a real little kid. My first actual job was working at a recycling center. And I had an awesome boss. He taught me a lot of things, and we just got along just great. Probably the only boss I ever had in my entire working career that I got along with so well. And you know, it was hard work because you had to throw cardboard and glass, and you know, you had to throw all these big bags of things into these totes. So I mean, I learned the value of hard work. And you know, even the bales, after you had to bale them, you had to manually wire these bales. It was not and you had to use a hand truck to move them once you got them out of the baler. That was a great way to build muscles.
Yeah. I can somewhat relate to that, Brian, because at the second job that I had at a grocery store when I started when I was about 12, they had one of those crusher thingies, you know, where you would put the cardboard in there, and they had the things that you bound them up with would come out through the front, and then when you were done with it, you'd have to tie those things up and then move those big, huge bales of cardboard. And I was using a hand truck as well, and I did all kinds of other stuff. They had me sweep the parking lot, mow the grass. I mean, it was more than just a job stocking milk in the grocery store.
You know, it's interesting.
Oh, yes.
You go ahead, Brian.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I say we have a grocery store right down the street where they do the same thing, and it just brings back memories, good memories.
Sure. Good memories, yeah. My dad, God rest his soul, my dad was a firm believer in you know, using your hands, moving, lifting, you know, manual labor. He was a firm believer in all of us kids having that experience. And I tell you, I'm so grateful to him. It has helped me to be able to fix anything, pretty much do anything. And my same with my siblings, the same way. But they wanted us off the couch. My parents used to say all the time, "Get off the couch." They used to say it all the time. So we would always be doing something. And I think these jobs that you're talking about, like Brian and Jerry, this is so important. We need to, don't you kind of think we need to get back to that a little more?
Sure. I think that would be good.
Definitely.
Yeah. Wonderful, James. Brian, sorry, James was the last call. Brian, thank you for the contribution to the program. We appreciate that. I did want to get to Anne Marie's comment on YouTube. She's watching the video stream on YouTube. Anne Marie says, my first job was at A&W Root Beer when I was 14. I had to have a special guardian permission to work part-time as a minor. And I learned to have a very good work ethic to keep grades okay and sports, and learn to manage money and have a bank account under Dad's name. Also, I learned fries give you pimples. LOL.
Anna Marie, that's hilarious. That's so true, though. I have a lot of friends that worked at what was it? We had different restaurants back in New Jersey, but they said that those fryers, it actually there was a lot of oil, you know, in the air and coming up, and so it would cause your face to break out. That could be tough, you know.
Yeah, that was my sister's first job. Was in a small family-owned drive-up restaurant called the Zany Zebra. The Zany Zebra Zip-In.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
We're going down memory lane, folks, and we're learning and growing at the same time. I love it. That's the Take Two style. That's the Take Two way. Tomorrow, we've got our monthly unscripted show. It's super popular. People are calling in and weighing in all over the world on unscripted, and that means you bring the topics to the table. Anything you want to talk about, we're here to listen and to discuss. Right, Jerry?
That is correct. So until tomorrow, we, as always, want to wish you a beautiful and blessed day. Remember, when your station asks you for support financially, which many of them are doing right now, please be generous. Do the same with EWTN if you would be so kind. And we pray, as always, during this year of St. Joseph. St. Joseph, please pray for us. Amen. God bless.